All right, guys, it's 11, so I think we're safe to get going here. And hi, everybody. My name's Ryan. I'm a key accounts manager here with MeasureSquare. I want to thank you guys all for joining today's webinar. And I'll be walking through a demonstration of our MeasureSquare 8 Commercial Edition, featuring one of our training projects, Cave Creek. So today's session is going to be all about showing how MeasureSquare 8 Commercial can provide fast, accurate, high quality estimates, all through the lens of a real world example. You can see on the agenda over there or on my screen. Hopefully you guys can all see it. We'll also be walking through some key AI powered features like our OCR, which stands for Optical Character Recognition, and our Align on Path tools. And we'll do this to show you exactly how MeasureSquare continues to innovate and lead the way in flooring estimation software. I myself will be going at a brisk pace, but feel free to ask questions in the chat. I have Anastasia with me here. She's our customer success pro, and she'll be helping me out answering any questions that might pop up as I'm giving the presentation. So on today's agenda, some of the basics we'll be going over for anyone who's newer to the software, and we'll have some slightly more advanced tips sprinkled in there for you existing users. We'll be going over importing and scaling, some drawing tools, our elevation and room editing tools as well, optical character recognition again, and our product location tools there, applying those products and patterns, estimating, printing, reporting, all the good stuff. And at the end, we'll also leave time for a Q&A. So if you want to hold on to your questions, just in case we're answering them as we go along, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, feel free to pop them in the chat. So with that being said, let's go ahead and show you guys what you can expect from the session here today. So I have here a example project that's already baked out or built out. And what our system is trying to do for you newer users, right? MeasureSquare 8 is going to provide fast and accurate estimations and get you your quantities. It's trusted by top contractors who want to win more bids faster. It's designed to handle large, complex commercial projects with ease, deliver on precise layouts, and using our advanced flooring algorithms. It also generates flexible, high-quality PDF reports and is backed by our world-class customer support team. For commercial flooring and interior finishing projects, we can do things like create tile patterns. We do wall bases, ceilings, elevations, flash coving, all types of work. We have over 4,000 clients that work with us on all sorts of projects, from large-scale schools, hospitals, multifamily, to corporate offices, and anything in between. The tools that you guys lean on, depend usually on the trade, the project complexity, and a bunch of other factors. And as long as you stay curious in the system, you're going to see huge returns with your estimations. You can also, again, lean on our world-class support team to help you out. We have free ongoing support and have a team of 7 dedicated team members who will help you via email or phone as you're learning the software. So that being all said, let's show you how we can do that from step 1. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and click on a new tab here so we can start from a blank page. And just to give you a lay of the land here, and I know some of you existing customers, this might seem like a repeat, but it's always worth reiterating just so you guys have a feel for the layout. We have a simple left to right workflow for the most part. You can go ahead and start on the top left corner where you would import your PDF, CAD, and image files, setting them to scale, and then going from there, moving right to finish your project. So I'm going to go ahead and import my PDF. I have my Cave Creek Medical Center there ready to go. It'll open up this import window where if I hit OK, it'll load that up into my scaling window. Give it a second here to think, and here we go. So on our blueprint here, if you have a known dimension, we can use our calibrate scale button. So we have this button right up top here. And if you hover your mouse over any of these tools here, it'll show you a little description of what it can do. This button here will allow me to select 2 points to enter in a dimension. So if I left click on 2 known points, I should be able to scale the area fairly quickly. Now we also have a drop-down sections. So if you go to the left side here and click on that drop-down, you can select the scale, especially if the scale is already on the blueprint like it is here. You can go ahead and select that 1/4 inch equals a foot, just like that. We can also rotate our image, crop our image as an example. If we were just going to focus on this area here, it's as simple to crop that. And we could even have that section be at its own scale. For now, I'll keep it at the same. And then once we have everything scaled and ready to be imported in, we have this bottom section right here that says import to new tabs. That'll be the button you select to get your drawings onto their each onto their own individual tab. So right here we have that cropped image we just showed earlier. Next to it, on the bottom left corner of the screen, we have the full drawing. Now, we can go ahead and get into the drawing tools. One of the smartest time savers is to draw your rooms first and then creating your materials second. You might ask why we do this. Well, the reason being is not every item in the finished legend ends up on the floor plan. So by drawing things first, we can focus on what is going to be actually used and skip loading up your catalog with, unneeded or unused SKUs, right? So again, keeping with our left to right workflow here, we'll go into the free draw tool. You can click on that free draw tool up top, and you may notice next to it, we have a little section where it shows you what hotkey that's associated with. Any of the tools you see here today that I'm using can be hotkeyed to make it even faster. But for now, I'll just go ahead and click. You can see here, I'm going to zoom in using my mouse with a scroll wheel to zoom into this exam area. And to draw your rectangular shaped rooms, it's pretty simple. You're just going to left click on the interior corner, hold your left mouse button down, drag it out to size, and it should line up just like so. It'll generate the room and the walls for that room. Again, you can line up that next room here, left click and drag to line it up to close out that area. Now we can also draw rooms that have corners and notches by just left clicking on individual points as well. Just like so, to make sure we line it up with line it up correctly with the rooms. And then the last point here, we can close out by right clicking. Another way we can draw out rooms is we can draw the entire area. So if I wanted to draw this exam room 4, 5, and 6 all together, I can just left click and drag this out to size to cover the entire area. Because what we can also do, if you right click on any room, we have all of your room editing tools nested in a right click. So all I have to do now is go to my room editing section, go to draw a wall, which is a tool right there. And then I can start at the center point of that wall, drag it down to close out. And you'll see now it's going to separate these two areas. You see this one area highlighted red, and this area is now its own separate room. I'm going to go ahead and do that for the next room as well. So all I have to do is select my draw wall tool, drag it down just like that to split up these rooms. So there's a couple of different ways to draw out the area. We can also, reformat some things if we don't line it up exactly right the first time by just dragging those corner points or dragging the center points to drag in or out those wall details to make sure everything is lined up perfectly. And we can also draw things in a couple of other different ways. So as an example, if we have a room like this manager's office down below with a notch, or this physician's room, right? We can draw the larger area again. So I'm just going to draw this as one large rectangle here. And if you right click, we can use a tool called the insert hole right there in the center. When I click on that, it'll load my mouse up with this new crosshair, which I can use to then draw areas that would be considered a hole or notched out of the room. So I can do that for these areas here, just like that. So I can create those shapes pretty quickly. And then under room edit again, add a wall to divide up this room. So those are some quick tools. We can also do things like merge areas together. So if we're in the mode of drawing rectangles, if I go back up here and delete this room for us for now, we can continue to draw areas kind of separated, just like so. Like I can draw one triangle and one triangle here. And then we have the option to merge rooms together by clicking on one room, highlighting it red, holding the control key on my keyboard, and selecting another room. We can highlight both. If I right click on these guys here, I can choose to, under room edit, merge these rooms together so they're one large room. So a lot of cool stuff there with the tools. And you may notice as I was drawing out the rooms earlier, we have this tool here that allows you to line up the lines. You'll see that as you get close to this black line, it's going to automatically snap to that, your crosshairs, that is, to that line. And what that is something called our align on path. So if I click on a free draw tool, we have this section called alignment. So if I click up top on the left corner there, you can see we have a tool that says align on path. I have that selected on. And essentially what that's doing is it's allowing me to snap my crosshairs to that black line, and it shows that green line to show me that I'm perfectly aligned with the architectural drawing. So now if I drag this out to size here, you can see that it should line up. You see it showing that green line down below. And if I go down here, let's see, down to this IT office as a good example, it should highlight my entire room blue to note that, hey, everything is lined up in this room, so I can let go. This can help increase your speed with drawing rooms, in some cases by 10% for some folks. Now, that might not seem like a big change, but it not only improves the speed, but it also ensures the accuracy, which can save you, not only time and, it can save you a lot of confidence when it comes to drawing out your room lines, making sure that they're clean, aligned, and ready to go. So with that, that's a little bit about our cool new aligned on path tool. I'm going to move on now to another really cool feature that I feel like I've shown many times, but it's always worth repeating because it's a very powerful tool. It's our autocomplete. So moving from this room here, I have a already pre-drawn area to show. So you can see here, we have all these rooms drawn already, and we have this larger interior corridor that is not. So what our autocomplete can do for you, right, is if I select all these rooms, or let me do this really quickly. I'm going to go to my options here and just turn off a little setting so that way it's a little bit easier to see. So if I select all my rooms here, you can see them now all highlighted red. You'll notice that the larger interior is not finished, and you can think of an autocomplete feature as a way to quickly close out a larger room. If you think of this drawing like a vase, you can see here that if this interior corridor was a vase and we were going to pour water into it, we need to ensure that there's no holes or no gaps. So that way, when I go to my free draw tool here and close out that last hole or this last section, it'll see all the walls that we've drawn before, highlighting it purple and closing out that area. So the autocomplete, effectively sees all the walls we've drawn, and then if I right click, it'll close out that larger area for us, saving us a ton of time of going into this section and clicking on each individual wall. Now, I'm going to go back in here, and we can see that even though we've drawn this larger area, we still have some rooms that we need to draw on the interior. So if I click on the free draw again, we'll zoom in. I'll just draw one room out of the interest of time, but again, you would draw this room as you would normally. So within this larger corridor, we'll draw this patient toilet, just like that. Now, just because we drew this room doesn't mean it's finished, because right now this larger area is actually overlapped on top of this room. So what we can do is if I right click on this room and I scroll down to room edit, we have a tool called punch out. Basically, what this tool will do is it'll embed this room into that larger area. That way, no flooring will be overlapped on top of it. And if I move this guy over here to the left, you'll see we have that cutout. That room still exists, though, within the area it's supposed to. So now no flooring will be overlapped on top of each other. I'm going to hit the undo button on the top there to go back. And again, you have the option to always undo any action that you've done. So that way you can make sure that you're on the right track. Now, once we're done drawing our rooms, which we pretty much are here for now, as for this example, we'll go into our OCR. So for OCR, and I think we should take a step back and talk about AI in general. So a major update we've created is something called our optical character recognition, which can be used to scan and digitize the text on your blueprint, which can save you time not only in typing, but in searching for products as a whole. So what we'll do is we'll right click on our blueprint here, go to image OCR, which is right there under image OCR, and it's bracketed beta. It says beta, but it's rock solid. So if you click on image OCR, it's going to scan this room. I'm going to just hit yes. And then once it scans that room, it allows you to highlight the areas. And something that I'm going to do, I'm going to take a step back actually, guys. So if you go back to the options section under the image here, we have the ability to allow blueprint text selection. This way you can see the actual text that you're selecting. This is a setting that's in the options. So just be aware that you may have to turn this on if you're going to select any text. So I'll turn that on. And now you can see here, because of my OCR, I'm able to select the text and potentially copy and paste it to a room. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Another cool thing that OCR allows you to do, though, is if I go to my right sidebar here, go to room view, you'll see we have all the rooms listed out. But if I want to search for an individual text item, in this example, I'll look for carpet, so CAR. You'll see that there's a bunch of options on my drawing section here. So if I double click on that, it'll quick link me to where that text is on the blueprint. So this can help you not only find products pretty quickly, but also ensure that the rooms and areas you need to work on have product within them. So this is a really great way to locate any materials as you're going through your project. And what we'll do, since we're talking about material now, I'll go back up to that section here. You can just take, if you have the product on your blueprint, the details of the product here, you can just select it by left clicking and dragging it over, hitting Control C on the keyboard. And then on the left side of my screen here, we have our products. And we can create a new product using the details that we just copied. So to create a product, it's pretty simple. You're going to hit this little blue button on the left corner there next to that X. When you click on that, it's going to open up a new product window here where you can choose a name. In this case, I'm just going to choose CT test. Under type, we can choose the type here, hit OK, and it'll create that product in my list right here. I can now hit Control V to copy that text into the product. And again, selecting certain details, if I want to add them into certain sections, I can. This can save you a ton of time in typing and see huge gains in your efficiency. And a lot of our customers who use this, think it's amazing, right? Just the not having to get carpal tunnel anymore. It's just a huge time save and just health save. So once you have those items, copied and pasted in, you can also edit and adjust your, in this example, the tile piece here. We have a couple of different ways to calculate for waste for tile here that we can show pretty briefly. We have a waste add-on, our half reuse, cut and fit, and our no reuse option. Normally, our customers use a waste add-on. We can discuss the half reuse and cut and fit in a little bit later section, but for now, waste add-on, we have it anywhere between like 5 and 10%. So we'll go ahead and add that detail in. You can choose your shape here. You can choose your width, your length, just like so. And then we can even choose our pricing, which I'll skip for now. And we can add our sell by option. This will allow you to calculate how many boxes or any label you want to give this. It could be a box, it could be a carton, it could be a pallet. And then as long as you know how many square feet come in that unit, you can calculate how many material goods you'll need. We can also add what are called add-on items down below. And these can be things like labor, underlayment, and any additional items that you want to add to your product. And once this is built out, it's one of those things where we just set it up once. You can set it and forget it, and then go into it when you're ready to add the products that you need for this project. When I'm ready, I'll go ahead and hit save. Those changes will apply to my product. Once I have my product in my sidebar here, we can then apply it to the rooms. So to apply it to a room, it's a simple drag and drop method to add it. So in this case, we can go ahead and drag and drop this product right here. Oh, let's not do that one. Let's do this other room here, just like so. Now, another cool thing you can do specifically for tile, right, is we can always duplicate a product pretty quickly. Let's say I want to right click on this guy and I want to create another product that's the exact same type, but a different color. I'll go ahead and duplicate this. Double click on it again to open up the details. And all I have to do to change it is change the color scheme, just like so. We also have really great pattern tools. So as an example, if I right click on this tile piece and go to design pattern with, which is a tool available in our commercial and our multifamily edition, click on that. It'll give you some patterns to work with. But what you could also do is you can go ahead and add that test pattern that I created before, or test tile piece before, and snap it together to create a nice checkerboard pattern here. Pretty easy to access and create. And then when you're ready, we can save this to our patterns template or to our project. So I'm going to save it just for this project here and hit OK. it'll load that to my mouse, and I can just drag it over a room to add that now new pattern to a room. Make it super simple and easy to quickly get that where I need it to be. And we'll also save that as a pattern in our project items list. Now, that's a little bit about tile. We'll also get into a little bit about sheet vinyl. So for sheet vinyl, you'll notice that we have a couple of sheet vinyls here, and you'll see the label that they're labeled flash coved and flat lay. So to add them in, again, simple drag and drop method. The way we cove our flash cove our rooms, we can do it one of three ways. We can do it by the product. So if I go ahead and add this product into a few rooms here, just so you can see an example, you can right click on this product, and we have the option to set self-coving by the product. We can also set self-coving by individual rooms and by individual wall segments. So we make it really easy to just go ahead and add your sheet vinyl there. You can see it goes over the blueprint of the room. And if I go to a quick 3D viewer here of that room, you can see the product going up the walls as well. Now, once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and exit out. Another thing we can do with our seams, which we'll go ahead and showcase in our finished product. So I kind of added some products here, but just to save us some time, I also have a finished diagram. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So within our finished diagram, you'll notice we have a lot more rooms with product already applied. So for seams, right, we have all these rooms with their seams noted by the dotted line within that room. You can change your layout direction by, again, going to the top section up here. We have this button called Layout Direction. If you click on that, this will allow you to go into a room and change your layout direction of that room. In this case, we'll go into this room here. You can line it up with a wall. So if it's a wall at an angle, you can make sure that your line is perfectly aligned with that wall, or you can click in the center, drag out that line to have it be at any angle you want. Once we have all our layout directions settled, we can also do details like, for example, if I click on a room here and I want to switch the seam sides, we can go ahead and do that. We have a tool that allows you to switch your seam sides just like that. And this will switch, what side the fill pieces are on in that room to help you reduce potentially unneeded seams, remove it from any doorways, and it has also a ton of other applications that, we can showcase maybe in a future session. And another thing we can do after we've switched the seams here is once we have our seam layout the way we want, we can lock them into place. We have 3 places to lock our seams. We have the seam lock up top here. We also have under shape and edit on the top right corner of the screen, the room lock and seam lock. So you'll want to make sure that all 3 are locked. This way, the system won't fight you in the future before you start moving pieces around, because when you click on any room that has, roll goods in it, you'll see that it also shows you a cut sheet. Within this cut sheet, we have a lot of fill pieces, and we're able to, within this cut sheet, move our fill pieces around to help us condense cuts. That way you can save on waste and make sure that you're hitting, getting the best bang for your buck on your carpet goods. Now, after you condense your cuts here, which you can do by just moving things around here, we have the ability to move pieces around and resize things as well. We also have a cut margin. So you'll notice here, we have a cut margin of 3 inches on the length. That way you never run short. And you can edit this by going to your settings up top here, where we can change our cut margin details and a couple of other advanced settings. Now, before I move on, one thing I do want to note about the cut sheets and cut lists there is we do have this option under estimate, under this drop down here rather, called auto estimate. If you turn off the auto estimate, this may be beneficial to you on larger projects, because with auto estimate turned on, anytime you adjust a seam, it'll recalculate the cut sheet. So when you turn this off, if you're working with huge plan sets with a ton of rooms and a ton of roll goods, you don't want to necessarily reload your cut sheet layout each time, which may slow you down. So if you turn this off, you can go ahead and now adjust your large project to have the seam layout you want, and then just be sure you either turn this back on or you hit this estimate button up top to calculate for your updated cut sheet. Just a note there, because it is a huge time saver, especially when you don't need to calculate things right away. And we always want to make sure that our quantities are correct. So just be sure you do click on that estimate button when you're finished. Now, once we're done with the layout here, we can also add a legend. So under our legends section here, we have this drop down where you can have a legend with product usage and just general usage and a couple of other settings. I'm just going to do a general legend where it'll show me all the products, including the underlayment and labor charges as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just select the ones that are pertinent to this project. Some of the base there, the carpet, the sheet vinyls, just so, for the field crew, so they can ID what goes where, right, in a color scheme. Just like that. Now that we're done adding those details in, we can go ahead and go to our worksheet. So this looks pretty good to me. We can also finish it up with a quick 3D view, because however you leave this 3D view is how it will show up in your final print report. So I like to make sure it looks nice and viewable for the client or the customer. So I like mine at an angle, and I'll go ahead and leave it like that. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump into the worksheet, which is a tab next to the takeoff. The worksheet is where you can review your results of your quantities and your estimation. So I'll click on that. We have already a few built out. And you can see here, it's in a spreadsheet view. If you're going to create a new breakdown, you can always hit that new button there. And any changes that you make, you always want to make sure you hit the reload button, because the worksheet is a separate module from our takeoff. So any changes you make in the takeoff, the worksheet won't necessarily see unless you hit the reload button there. Okay. So once we have all the updated data that we need, you'll see it's listed out here. We can separate it, labor and material. We also can change our columns around. So if we want to move things around, it's pretty easy to do so. You can also right click on this guy to select individual columns. So we can pick and choose what we want to show, right? And then we can even save that for future breakdowns down the road. We have your totals on the right side. We also have an instruction sections where you can add terms and conditions and exclusions as needed. And once this is all done, you can print this out as a proposal form, or you can export this to Excel. We also have a final print report, which will show everything. So if you go to File and Print, this will generate your full summary report. So this summary report, we'll go ahead and select certain details here. You can pick and choose what items you want to show just by selecting them with a simple click. And you can even create different templates. That way you're not reinventing the wheel each time. You can just have a template that's, maybe for your internal team, and then one that's maybe for your customer, right? Just as an example. Once you have your settings selected, you can hit OK. That will take you to a print report window, which I'll show you right here. It'll have your company logo, your tagline, your job summary with your quantities, a breakdown. If I scroll down here, you'll have the full breakdown with your cut sheet and your cut list. And if I scroll down a little faster, you get to the good stuff here with our seam diagram and your layouts. We'll also have a wall profile view for tile, which we didn't touch on too much, but just to quickly get on that, because I know we're coming up on time here. I do want to leave some time for a Q&A. So we do have the ability to add tile to our walls and, adjust them similar to the floor. You can go ahead and drag and drop tile product in. We can even add things like bullnose and other detail and create this quick high-level overview for you in this print report. I'll go ahead and scroll down even faster here to go to our 3D view and our proposal breakdown. And again, this has a lot of play to it. So if you do want to pick and choose what items you want to show, you can just select the items like so to show just the details that you want. Just like that. And so one last takeaway I want to emphasize is, whether you're estimating for floors, walls, millwork, MeasureSquare estimation software can adapt to your workflow. You're not locked into any one rigid process. Instead, what you really have is a toolkit that evolves with the type of project, the team, and the client's needs all in one stop. So now how am I on time? I feel like we're right on the 30-minute mark, but I did want to leave some extra time for questions. So we'll go ahead and open that up. Feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll go through them in order. If your question, we don't get to it, or you need a more detailed response, we'll go ahead and make sure that we follow up directly with you after this session. So let's see here. Where are the chat or Q&As? Let's see here. And Anastasia or Blanca, are you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, perfect.
Just for everyone's consumption, if you will, we're going to go ahead and post a poll. If you guys can go ahead and answer that poll question for us. That's going to be where you see the attendees on the left, it'll be under polls, just for everyone's understanding.
Perfect. Yes, there's a poll that's up. Perfect. And then, yeah, sorry, the questions, I'm seeing them, but is there a way to like rank them? I'm not sure if they've been answered already too. Let's see here.
I'm sorry, the only one that is left to answer is regarding auto takeoff. Ethan and Ben have both asked regarding the auto takeoff function. And
Perfect.
if you want to go through that one more time.
Yeah, sure. We can get into that pretty quickly here. So let's go ahead and go into this drawing. We'll go ahead and select, we'll just delete these rooms for now. So our auto takeoff, so we do have an auto takeoff that's in beta here. So once you import in your PDF, and if you right click on your plan, we have this option that says auto takeoff and there's brackets beta, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and try it out. So this is using essentially, AI to draw rooms for you. Now, that being said, the robots haven't fully taken over just yet. You will need an estimator to double check it because it's not going to be 100% accurate. From our testing, we've gotten pretty dang close, but as you can see here, it did pretty well. It drew the rooms. It even added doors for you. But it's going to sometimes because of the line detail, and all architectural drawings are different, guys. So sometimes when you get a plan, it's just not going to be well suited for the auto takeoff. So what you'll have to do is you may, just for your own confidence, you may want to still draw out the rooms because you can verify quality by drawing it yourself and it doesn't add too much extra time. However, if you come into a project that's pretty simple and you can quickly check, it's a quick turn project or something, it's definitely something that you can play with. As you can see here, it did pretty well. It did misalign a few walls here and there that are easily adjustable by just, getting into the right spots. Or if you need to, right, what I would recommend potentially is just, not deleting the whole thing, just delete individual sections to redraw. I hope that answered the question. It said, could you explain it? I showcased it a little bit, and then I think there was one more question about it. But yeah, we can also send you some materials, guys, on the auto takeoff. And if you're interested, on a trial, if you haven't had a trial yet, it's available there, as well as some video material that we can send you. So yeah, I think, is that all the questions, Anastasia? Huh. Oh, wait, let me see.
See it at the bottom, Ryan?
Okay,
Will there be a webinar for countertops in the future?
Will there be a webinar for countertops? Yeah, I think there definitely will be, as we do have a MeasureSquare Stone version that focuses on countertops. And if you're interested, yeah, we can send you some information. There's also information on our website. MeasureSquare Stone is, designed to handle bulk ordering of countertops, to also create things like your splash, your lamb, and to, generate essentially kind of like a cut sheet for carpet, generate your countertop cuts. Let's see here. We have a settings question. When using the wall tool, how do I change the drawing default to centerline instead of justified at the corner? When using the wall tool, how do I change the default to centerline instead of justified at the corner? I think I understand, but just to make sure, Victoria, I might have to reach out to you. I'm assuming when you say the wall tool, it's the draw wall tool. And then you can just line that up where you need it to go and then click on it. Oops. But yeah, if I'm not, oh, perfect. Anastasia also answered that one as well. All right. So we'll go on to the next one. Can you show me where that alignment tab is? So alignment tab, is that, might need some, oh, perfect. Anastasia got you on that one. When in the draw mode, the alignment tab will open up and be highlighted green at the top. So when you go to the free draw, the alignment is right there. I don't know if you guys can see in my screen on the top, highlighted in green. Is there a more explanation or a more detailed explanation of reports and saving templates from Joshua? Yes, we can send you some more information. If you have some specific questions, be happy to, answer them. Or if you have a certain output, guys, that you're looking for, or, a certain like layout or format, feel free to send it over to us. We can take a look at that and give you some of our, best practices and tips on how to achieve that outcome. Let's see here. Hello. Question from Nick. Hello, hoping to get some more info on the half reuse cut and fit function. Yeah, so I just didn't have time for that today, but I'll send you, Nick, a online article about it. And then if you'd like, we can, oh, perfect. There we go. Anastasia's already way ahead of me. We'll send you, some details as well. If you have more specific questions, happy to also, send those over to our support team where they can take a look at whatever project you're working on and give you a breakdown on the differences between the half reuse, cut and fit, and the no reuse options. All right, you guys are answering questions for me, so it's great. I don't even know what to look at necessarily, but I'll keep on scrolling through here. All right, so from Jason, if an imported plan already has colors in it to denote product sections, the auto draw tool does not register the walls. Is there any way to address this? So when it has colors to denote the product sections, the auto draw, which I'm assuming means the auto takeoff, does not register the walls. Interesting. Josh, we might have to reach out to you and see kind of what that's looking like. But yes, exactly what Anastasia said. So if you can change that to grayscale or monochrome when you're importing in that function or when you're importing in that blueprint, right? Just make sure it's grayscale or monochrome. That might be able to help the auto takeoff see the lines that it needs to draw. All right. Please send me information specifically on countertops for building worksheets and proposals from Crystal. Will do, Crystal. Yeah, we can send you some information on that. Appreciate you coming in. And from Matt, we have having trouble with pattern match carpets and MeasureSquare not properly figuring cuts. Most of the time, it does not add the length or the wide pattern is not figured properly. Pattern matching and MeasureSquare. So for pattern matching, Matt, I think we should set up another breakout with you. If you let us know your email, I think we have that information actually. So we'll reach out to you, Matt. We might need. I might want to do some follow-up questions that we just don't have. We just don't have the time for today. But I think I'd like to see exactly what's going on before we say anything too definite there. Another question from Victoria. Oh, that is correct. It's a tool, but when I draw, it doesn't put crosshair in the center of the wall like it does yours. Huh. It used to, but the settings changed. If you want to reach out with me, okay. Yeah, I think we'll have to reach out. I think our support team will help you out with that, Victoria. I'm not sure why that's happening. So might be a settings thing. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking it's probably that. All right. Again, from Joshua, it looks like Anastasia got that one. So I'll go ahead and skip to the next one. From Shahad, happy to see some powerful addition of tools. Yeah, always adding new stuff. So please keep in touch with us if you have any questions. We also have a newsletter, so always be on the lookout with your email or check your spam. Make sure that you have MeasureSquare saved and favorited and loved, so that way you see the latest and greatest. Next question here. Never mind. Anastasia answered my question. Of course she did. She's the best. And I'm at the very bottom here. Got the email from Matt. Awesome. So we have maybe like an extra couple minutes here. We'll see if any other questions comes in, but appreciate the engagement, guys. Really helps us out and gives me the warm fuzzies. So let's see. Is there anything that wasn't answered? Maybe up top. All right. I see some items that weren't answered here that maybe I can get into. So can the 3D view show the wall finishes? Let's see here. So yes. If you click on the view wall section, oh, maybe not that one, but let's click on this one. If you click on the view wall and add product to your walls, you should be able to see all the product there. I'm not sure if that answers the question or if I'm not understanding it correctly, but that's from Christine. And Christine, if you have any other questions, please let me know. And then I have another one that doesn't look like it was answered from Eugene. How to change the wall tile pattern position to wall start for multiple walls and tabs at once. So let me make sure I understand the question. How to change the wall tile pattern position to wall start for multiple walls and tabs at once. So changing multiple walls all in one go might be a little difficult. I'm wondering if I can do that actually by selecting all the walls. I'm holding the control key and just selecting all these walls here together and then choosing a pattern position. Let's see if this works. I think it just does it for one wall for me. But let me look into that because I don't know if we can do that for all tabs. That might be because each individual tab is separate right now. We might not be able to do it that way. But good question, Eugene. I'll have to look into that a little bit more and we'll get back to you. I'm guessing the ones that weren't answered were probably a little more difficult or ones that we may need to, give a more detailed answer to. So let me go ahead and see. We have Ben with that question. I think I answered that one already. Is there a way to organize? There is a way to organize these. Okay, let's do the time. Let's see here. All right, we got some new questions here. Why can't you use the direction tools on non-roll goods? Interesting question. So the direction tool on non-roll goods, I'm assuming, let's see here. We'll go to the section where it says draw. And you do have this option to turn on the arrows, which show the direction of the tile. And then when you use the layout direction tool, it should move the arrows as well. So you can use directional tools on non-roll goods. It just may affect it slightly differently, Brad. Let me know if that answers your question. I'll go ahead and go to Fredericks. Huh. There is a command for all walls to copy one wall. Yes. So if you go into a room and click on your view walls, you can actually create a wall profile. And this is something I didn't have time to get into, but now I do. So it's exciting. I'm going to go ahead and add some tile to the wall. If you just right click on the wall, we have this option that says product assignment / profile. You can copy an individual wall profile and then paste it to all the walls all in one shot. All right. Building off the last question from Greg, is there an easy way to center the tile on the wall but have it aligned with the floor rather than a cut at the top and the bottom area? Is there an easy way to center the tile on a wall, have it aligned with the floor rather than at the top and bottom? I think I understand the question, but the last part is kind of throwing me for a loop, Greg. I think we should set up a call with support with you just so we can make sure we're fully understanding the question. Having a cut at the top and bottom of the area. So you're looking to align, I'm assuming, the floor with the wall. And let's see here. Off the top of my head, I might want to look into that for you just so I'm not leading you astray here, because I do believe we have a way to do that potentially, but I'm not exactly sure if the question is like aligning certain sections or if it's like, something more detailed than that. And Greg, if you want, yeah, please send us a project example as well. And then Brad says, mine doesn't work on light LTV jobs, huh? Yeah, Brad, if you can give us some more context, be happy to take a look into why it doesn't work on LVT jobs. And then we got Joshua. Does setting a pattern or setting layout direction affect the square footage calculations of the product, specifically tile, LVP, LVT, where a specific design is requested by a customer? It can, I do believe. I might have to throw that one to Anastasia because I'm not fully confident that I know exactly all the different types of calculations that could occur when a specific design direction is moved. So Joshua, we'll get back to you on that one for sure. All right, guys, we're coming up on the 45 mark. So I do have to end the session, I believe. I thank you guys all for coming, first off, and really appreciate all the questions. For those we didn't get to or ones we, only gave really, high level answers to, we'll definitely be reaching out to help you out. All right. And Keelan or Blanca, did you guys want to end with anything or close out the meeting?
Just to let everyone know that did participate, you will be receiving an email with this as a playback, and you'll be able to access that. So a recording of this webinar will also be available very shortly.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate your time.